It's not Wednesday, but I have a smile on my face today, which is more than I can say for yesterday. I was down and out trying to recover from a cold. Um, Hopefully, the coughing will stay at bay during this live stream this evening. But I am happy to be here. I'm Nicole with Equally Creative by Nicole, and I'm going to share with you 4 seasonal cards today using the Christmas Classics bundle. And if you are looking to order for the holidays, you're going to want to do so quickly so that you have time for shipping and things to arrive at your house. Give me one quick second. I forgot to turn on one of my lights. I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, so let's see. Christmas Classics bundle. Ooh, nice and bright. Let's go ahead and I'm going to switch camera views so you can see right down here. This is the Christmas Classics bundle. It does come, if you buy the bundle, it comes with these fabulous die cuts. I am focusing on these 2 large ones tonight, so we'll do 2 cards with this and 2 cards with this. And I'm so excited. Let's get started. All right, so if you've ever known me and done any class stuff with me, you know that I like to start with the easy and finish with anything that might be a little more complicated. So we're going to start with this super simple Peace on Earth card. And we're going to use my favorite color, Cherry Cobbler. If you have a favorite color, let me know in the comments. And while you're there, you can like and share for me, pretty please. I love it when you share me with your friends. Let them know that you have this cool, crazy, weird Stampin' lady who shows these beautiful cards every week, and you thought they'd like me. All right. So one of the reasons I do the weekly classes is because I have friends and family far away that like to purchase the card kits and make and replicate the cards at their own homes. So you can do the same. So this is a sample card kit. I create a couple ahead of time, and then I use one for myself to demo to you. So most of the time they are cut and ready to go, unless I get a little bit of a surge in orders. Then it might take me a day or so to cut the rest and get them out in the mail. But pretty much you could have this in your hands in the next few days if you are interested. And all you would need to purchase is either the card kit, or you can spend $35 in my online shop using the host code, and I'll send this to you for free. All right. All the information is in the details. So we are using shaded spruce this evening, and I've got a simple 5.5 by 8.5 card base folded at 4 1/4. I am using the Christmas Classics, Joy of Christmas Designer Series paper. I bought the whole suite, so I got the Christmas Classics plus the Joy of Noel, and this is the paper that goes with both of those sets. So we are using the DSP from that. I've got some basic white pieces cut here, and I've got some more of the DSP and some more of that shaded spruce. And I even have a piece cut out for you. All you have to do is stamp your sentiment on it. So I'm going to go ahead and ink up Peace on Earth. And because it's nice and clear, I can actually look directly down and I'll be able to stamp on there without too much trouble. Okay. All right. So now it's time. That's the only stamping for this card. And it is time. I'm going to close this up, or I might be wearing it soon. We're going to layer all of our pieces together. So I'm going to hold off on this one till we get the other 3 DSPs on there. All right, so I'm going to use just some plain old all-purpose glue this evening. I like the multicolored side of this paper. You can do this in any fashion that you would like. Maybe you like the green. Either way, I went ahead and did a little bit of red. And then I'm going to show you, I went ahead and I am moving this paper to one corner so that it is offset on this piece right here. This is 3 3/4 by 4, 3 3/4 by 5 perhaps. And then I'm going to shave this off with the trimmer because I want this to have the thinnest white matting. I don't want a lot of that white because it's going to take up some of the color from this picture, this image on the designer series paper. So I'm doing that with both of my pieces. That's going to help when I trim. I only have to trim down 2 sides instead of 4. So again, I'm lining this up so that I have a sliver on 2 of my sides. And this is going to cover the entire background. So this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And it may look like a lot of glue on here, but just like my tip says from Tuesday, it is just a tiny bit all over. So you want to go very easy when you're using the all-purpose glue. It will last forever if you are not putting it on thick and heavy. So use a very light hand and it will go a really long way. So we're going to go ahead and trim these with our paper trimmer. Let's see, I'm going to turn it backwards and maybe we can get some of it in the shot here. There we go. Okay, so I have it upside down for me so that you can see. And what I'm doing is I'm making sure that the edge of the designer series paper hits the edge of the inside. I don't even know what that would be called. The canyon, the Grand Canyon here. So that when I slice it, I have just that teeny tiny little edge there. And I'm going to do the same on this side. It doesn't matter which side I go in from. I just want to line up the edge of my DSP with the inner opening of the ruler slide, whatever you want to call this thing. Okay, so watch. I could do it from this side. It will do the same thing. Looking for that edge right there. Probably can't really see it too well, but it lines up really well. You'll see, like, when you've gone out too far, you'll be able to see your paper nice and clear. So it lines up really easily for you to get this nice, consistent little trimmed edge here. Hi, Karin. Ooh, I'm dropping things. All right, so that's all of the trimming for this card here. So what I did next, I wanted the red to be the kind of subtle background color, and I wanted to be able to see a little bit of it versus hiding all of it. So I scooted this one so that my points touch 3 of these towards the top. Okay, so I focused on sliding this piece towards the top. So that's what I'll do next. And then you'll see when we twist the other piece on the other side, the other diagonal, we're going to slide it towards the bottom. And that'll give me the most red under here that is possible to be seen and peeking out below. Okay. So we'll do this piece. And if you have ever bought designer series paper, you know that you probably have a lot of it left over. And sometimes you don't know what to do with all those little scraps. Doing these little crisscross is a really great way to show off your DSP and use some of it up. Okay, so you can see I kind of pulled this one towards the bottom, so I still see a good amount here. Okay, so the next thing I did, we're going to take this and we're going to do this cheater bow. Okay, so this is a pretty thick, coarse kind of ribbon. It makes a nice bow, but it doesn't make a nice wrap it around and tie it on this tiny little piece of paper bow. So I am going to use a little bit of some tape runner to hold this in place. Actually, I'm going to use 2 little layers here. So I'm going to place this on here, wrap it around, and make sure I have both pieces adhered to that little piece of tape. Okay, just like that. I'm just going to set that aside because now I'm going to just simply create a bow with the rest of the ribbon. And this is a trick my friend Jennifer taught me, to stick my finger inside the loops here in order to pull. And then it will not make a crease until I shove it in a card envelope. So there's my bow. I'm going to cut my ribbon. Well, let's see. There we go. Okay, so now that is cut, and we're basically going to make a cheater bow because when we flip this over and put this on the card, we're going to add that bow. And it's just going to mimic being on there as if we had tied it around this piece. Now I did put an extra layer right on the seam, just a little added insurance. Hopefully that piece under there will not come apart. And then I centered this, and it's very tricky when you have this crisscross stuff to make sure you're lining this up with the bottom edge. Okay, so now I'm going to take this bow and I'm going to add it right on here. And I actually used a mini glue dot for that. Another product that seems to last forever. I like to put it on the flat side of the bow. And then I just kind of pushed it in here. And now I'm going to put this on dimensionals as well. And I just did the 4 corners. And I'm going to straddle this over that ribbon. Tuck it right in there as centered as I can get it on that square. And that goes like that. Let's see who inspired this. Okay, so this card was inspired by Stampin Up with Jamie, who is also using up some of her paper because we all have like minds. We want to get these Christmas cards finished and in the mail because it's pointless, right, if you don't send them out. I did use, these are adhesive backed sparkle gems. You can see I'm running low on them. I have loved using these. I'm going to use them a couple times tonight, I do believe. So, okay, card number 1 with our faux bow trick. Okay. All right, card number 2 uses our very vanilla paper. I don't use it often, but I should probably use more of it. It's got a very classy, antiqued kind of look, and I absolutely love it. So this is the card we're going to make. Again, remember I start simple and then I get a little harder. So pretty simple here. So go ahead and pull out our kit. So one of the tricks to this, sometimes you'll get a die that doesn't always cut correctly, or maybe my mats need to be replaced. Haven't really figured it out, but I do have one die that just doesn't want to cut this area, and I managed to get like one really good one out of it, so I saved it for someone who's purchasing a kit. And if that happens, you can hide some of those imperfections in your creation of your cards. So I'm hiding that with these cute little greenery pieces that I had planned for this card. Let's see. And this is Mossy Meadow. I don't know why my brain just went blank for a second. And this time I used a 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And folded so that it is a portrait style fold at the top card. So this is super, super simple. We're going to use our Deck the Halls. I did use Mossy Meadow, but again, you could use what you have. Maybe you only have black. Feel free to use black. Maybe you are a fan of Cherry Cobbler like I am. Go ahead and use your Cherry Cobbler. I'm going to move this one to the right-hand side this time. Again, that's all the stamping we're going to do on that one. Get that out of the way. This layer is going to get adhered flat to our card. And I simply centered this on my card base here. Okay. And now I'm going to add, oh, I stamped on the wrong part. Oh my goodness. It's looking black on my screen. It is Mossy Meadow, Karin, and I have no idea how to get it to show green. There we go. A little green down there. Obviously, there's no perfect lighting solution in any room because it just, and this is like a daylight lamp that I have overhead so that my colors look right. Doesn't seem to matter. So Mossy Meadow. Oh, there it looks green-ish. All right, so obviously I need to deck my halls on the proper piece because I'm a goofball. So this is going to cover that. Shouldn't be any problems. All right. This is called real life stamping. All right, so this is going to go up on dimensionals, and then we will tuck our, I could probably do it beforehand, but we can tuck these on here so that they are covering up our oops here. Go ahead and do a little bit of this. All right, so now I can put this up on dimensionals. Let's see. All right, deck the halls. Let's cover up all these oops. 2 oops in one card. Oh my goodness. Now, if you have the other set, you could totally have cut some different pieces and hide things that way. So one of the tips I have for getting good cuts from some of these is to add an extra layer over your top die cut, just an extra layer of cardstock when you're running it through the machine. It's going to be harder, but usually that is the trick that makes everything work. I might just have one that's a little imperfect, or again, I think I need to replace my my cutting board pieces. So I have, again, used these adhesive backed sparkle gems. And since I was using the ivory, I went ahead and added those gold gems there. I am live. Awesome. And I get visitors. All right, so that was card number 2. Imperfectly perfect, right? All right, let's get a little more complicated. And by complicated, I mean I'm just using some different things. Sometimes it's a technique that makes things complicated. Other times it might be using die cuts or a myriad of things. So these are the Faceted Gems Trio Pack. Okay. And we're going to use those to create this card. And actually, I think I'm still going to use some of these too. I mixed them. I used them both. So there's that complicated piece. Okay, so I did use this big die cut as well as this one here. And I used some fancy paper back here. It's a 12 by 12 bead dazzling in the champagne color. Okay, and it's just cut down to my first layer. This is 4 by 5 1/4. This is 3 3/4 by 5, and then I have this color looks pretty good. This is Lost Lagoon, which I'm going to need in just a moment. So let's go ahead and create card number 3. This is one of my favorite cards. I like to find some non-red and green cards sometimes. So this was my version this year. All right, I'm gonna keep this out because we're gonna stamp first. We're gonna do our Merry Christmas, and then we'll move this to the side. And this is just 2 stamps that I have placed together so that they can go on here in one stamp. You could do it in 2, however you want to do it. You could cut the Merry out of a small piece and add it. So I'm setting that aside. We're going to do a little bit of blending. So I've got one of our tiny blending brushes. And I like to put my finger up here because I don't want to break this. I haven't really seen it happen much with these, but I have seen it with some generic ones. So remember, when you're blending, you're going to start off your paper and then blend onto your paper. The more layers you do, the darker it will be. So I'm just lightly brushing it on my ink pad here, and then I'll start off on my scrap paper and then push on to my card paper here. And again, the more I go over this, the darker it will be. And I just kind of left the center pretty light and bright. Did not do anything in the center here. Okay. Now I used this color to do the background coloring here. So let me show you this piece. So I wanted my elements to kind of build on one another. So I used this and made sure that I kind of go from the center out. I made sure I went off just a little bit. I used it full strength. I did about 3, I do believe, on each direction. So I just turned it because it's going to be the same in each direction. Okay, and then I also added towards the very center those holly leaves, and I did them on both sides as well. You can see when this ink gets right here. Let's see if I could, there we go. It's because I accidentally rocked my block into the ink, so I have to be super, super careful when I go to stamp this that I don't rock again, because then I'll get some extra ink on my paper, which I really don't want to have happen. Okay. So now we can layer all of our pieces. So again, I'm using a lot of regular old glue tonight. I will sing its praises every time. And I'm doing that because it gives me a second to kind of wiggle things into place. And when I have many layers like this, I will do that. And then I use the glue because this is kind of textured and my glue will hold really well. If I wasn't using the glue, I would either put this on dimensionals, or I would want to use our Stampin' Seal Plus. Because it is a texture, I don't want it to just pop right off. Hi, Jennifer. I feel like I just talked to you or something. All right, so we've glued this one on. We're going to use our glue one more time, and we're going to glue that sentiment right onto our die cut in the center. Okay, and now we're going to add our dimensionals to this. Now, I want to say that I did use my minis because I wanted to add a little extra stability to these pieces that fly out. So you can either cut down your Stampin' dimensionals, or you can grab a pack of minis. They both do the same trick, but you'll see I have added 3 to the center and then those 2 outlying pieces. I know that sparkly paper is really fun and I don't use it enough, so this was perfect. All right. So now I'm going to make sure my Merry Christmas is going in the right direction. And I'm just putting that layer right in the center on top of those elements that we stamped in the background. And then I added some of those sparkle gems again. Good thing I have another pack because I'm about to run out of these. All right, and then I may have gone a little over the top because I added these beautiful faceted gems trio, and you could really use any of the colors on here. I really went with the tone on tone for this, so it's nice and subtle. And I basically stuck these on the large 3 where you might put berries. I put gems. Oh, let me scoot that one over just a tiny bit. There we go. But I love all the sparkle in this card. You get sparkle from the gems and sparkle from the paper. And if you're really brave, you could probably even add some Wink of Stella to this. Of course, I'll probably do one where I add some Wink of Stella. I did not line this one up well. Ugh. There we go. Okay. So you can see all the sparkles. Ta-da! Okay, so that is card number 3. Again, super simple, but we get a little more involved. And the same is going to be true for the very last card. So the last card gets more complicated with the amount of die cutting that has to happen. So I used the same cutout times 10. So if you see this card, this was inspired by Michelle Carlson. Make sure I give her credit there. I saw this and I was like, oh my God, I have to make this card. And so this card has die cutting here and here, as well as this background piece. Plus we have the double layer of paper here, a little strip of DSP, and I colored some of my pearls to match, as well as die cutting the berries. So you can see that it kind of builds from being super simple to something a little more extravagant. And I colored these guys. These are the classic matte dots. However, I just got my order in today. And I got my rhinestones came in. So we're going to color rhinestones tonight instead. So let me grab my dark cherry cobbler because we'll need this at the end tonight. All right. Now, if you get a card kit, you're not doing all of this cutting because I've done the hard work for you. So in your card kit, you will even have some berries pre-cut. Don't lose them. They're in there. Okay, so I'm going to set these up here so I don't misplace them. This is the only piece we're going to stamp on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. First thing, we are using our cherry cobbler. I'll probably cry when this color discontinues because it is my favorite red in our whole lineup. So I will cry. There's no maybe. I will. So I did Season's Greetings in that cherry cobbler color, and we're simply going to add this to our green layer here. And I like to keep this layer flat because I am popping up this entire die cut. So it just makes it easier when sending, you know. I'm going to show you a trick with this. It doesn't matter if I put it on upside down because I can just turn it around. All right. So there are these little pieces right here. And that is what pokes these holes. And then you get this great peekaboo effect when you layer it on top of a colored paper. So you get to see that color through those little holes. I love it. So I'm going to go ahead and add this. You can see I'm scribbling, but it is super, super light. But I've made sure I've gotten it pretty much everywhere. And I want to center this in this layer here. Okay. I'm going to add a strip of glue on here. This is going to go the entire width of this piece right here, right through the center, almost as if it were a ribbon. So if you didn't have this DSP, you could completely use a ribbon in its place. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut these so that I have the individual berries. And at first I thought, oh, it's a straight flat line, I need to trim around it. Nope, you don't. It's fine to just cut this right in the middle. Nature's berries are not 100% perfect either. So, all right, so what I did was I added my 3 little dots, top and bottom. And the trick is to use your Take-A-Pick tool, stick your berry on, hold it with your finger, and pull the tool off. You could use the edge of your scissors. Occasionally I'll pull this side off and do it like this. And there's my berries. Okay, so now we're going to use our Stampin' Blend, and we're going to color a couple of our basic jewels. They're so pretty. I love these. I'm so excited that they came in today. Usually they come in, you know, like on a Monday when I'm not going to use them because I'm too tired from just going back to work. All right, so I'm going to put these, I'm going to use 4 of them. So I'm going to do 2 mediums and 2 smalls. And I'm using the blends. These are alcohol based. And I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. There it is. So it looks like I'm using red rhinestones, but I'm not. I just colored it with our blends. I'm going to give it just a second. It's alcohol based. It's going to dry pretty quickly. These are already, they have adhesive on them. So I'm just going to make sure my putty can pull these off. Here we go. And we have like a larger side and a smaller berry here. So I'm adding just a tiny bit of sparkle to this greeting with a tiny bit of color there. So now I'm going to turn this over and add those dimensional pieces again. And I did the same 3 pieces, 1 in the middle, 1 on each edge, and I will use my minis because they fit so well without having to cut anything. And again, I just used those outermost pieces just to give it a little continuous lift, and hopefully those edges will stay raised even after I send these through the post office. So I'm going to put this right here in the center. And now I'm going to add this entire layer onto our card base. And again, because I want that tiny bit of wiggle, I've got a very, very thin layer of glue all the way around my card. And I'll add this to the base and slide it into the center. Okay, card number 4. All right, I would love to know which one is your favorite, because they're all so pretty this week. I mean, how can I go wrong with these materials, right? All right, so non-traditional, antiqued, traditional, and peace on earth. A little more traditional there too. You can't really see all 4 of them all at once. Well, that's a bummer. No matter how I move them, my camera is not going to show all 4 at once. in this current setup. So here they are. The blingy one. This blingy one? Was this the blingy one? I know. Sorry, Jennifer. I moved them all around. Yes, the flashy, sparkly one. Me too. This is my favorite. I love it. But if I were going with like a classic red and green, I think this is it. Thank you, Karin. Awesome. All right, let's see. What else do I have going on? Oh, so today was not my normal day to go live, but thank you for joining me. I appreciate you both, you all. Don't know who else jumped on there. If you're watching the replay, let me know down below. Like and share. And I think that's it. Our sale goes on through tonight. So if you need inks, papers, let's see, some cardstock, ribbon, those things are all on sale. Go check it out. Plus, again, our clearance rack is on there, so you'll want to see some things. All right, I love you all. I'll see you soon. Have a great Friday Eve. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.